Yeah, I love really good um, remakes because it takes us, in my opinion, like an extraordinary level of talent
Mm.
to make something better that was already great. And so, like, if there's a really, really good cover song, like I'll listen to it on repeat because
Same.
it takes, like I said, it's another level to improve upon something that didn't need improving upon.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm kind of like that in general
show.
with music. Like, I will, if I find something I like, I just listen to it. I will wear that thing out until I'm so tired of hearing it that it's like, all right, I'll listen to that again in 2 months, and I'll probably do the same thing and just binge it again. But I don't know why. I'll just listen to it over and over and over. And I was like, are you done with this yet? I'm like, just one more time. One more.
No, there's a couple people that do covers regularly that I listen to. Boyce Avenue does acoustic
Boyce Avenue
covers
is the
of
man.
really popular songs. I love those. And then there's a like a punk band called Fame on Fire, and they cover everything: country songs, rap songs, like pop
that's
songs,
cool.
you name it. And they'll cover it in like kind of like heavier punk rock. And I'll listen to those when I work out because those freaking jam.
Dude, I love when they do covers like that and it's their own spin on it, right? They're not just trying to recreate what happened, like, or what the original sounded like. That's cool. I really like that. There's another there's like an Irish rock band that does some cool stuff like that, that does covers of things like that. They're I can't remember, Turtles something or another. God, I'll remember it here in a second. But they're ranked.
Turtles?
Super rank. Yeah. Yeah, Trampled by Turtles. Yeah. They're ranked, dude. They're super
really
good.
Conley's in a punk phase now, so
Speaking
she's
of
like
really
all
good,
about this punk music. She wants to listen to punk all the time, and I'm like, "You're 6," and so her favorite artist is Avril Lavigne. I'm like
Avril Lavigne or
so
what?
We've we've heard, yes, exactly. We've heard Skater Boy like 10,000 times in the last 4 weeks. So every time we get in the car, I want to listen to punk music. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm just waiting. She's like, by the time she's 9, she's gonna have black hair, and like, I'm like, okay, what is going on here? Too much
extremely emotional.
Yeah, extremely emotional, which we're already there. So, which she comes by that, honestly. You know, between me and her mother, she's definitely going to be an emotional individual. But yeah, we're just punking it up over here. So, I'm definitely going to have to look into that Fueled by Fire, Flames, Ring of Fire, whatever Paul just said. I'm going to have to check them out.
Fame on Fire.
Fame on Fire.
I'll text it to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it'll be a lot of, there's like I said, a lot of pop songs too. So like stuff that is already familiar, and then just a different spin on it. It's pretty good.
That's sweet.
Not quite. Sweet. Nothing really compares to the Peyton Parrish heavy metal covers of the Disney songs, though. I've been jamming to the Disney songs. He does "Let It Go," the Frozen one, and oh my gosh, that just. That's
the best one in my opinion. That's the best one. That's the only one I really jam to.
The Lion Sleeps Tonight is another good one. There's a couple Lion King and Tarzan ones too that just,
and they're just like super death metal.
Yeah, like really heavy. Yeah,
dude, I wouldn't like that, but I'm glad for you guys that you enjoy that. That's awesome.
It doesn't sound like death metal. I don't know. Maybe it is. It's heavier, but it's not like screamo or anything like that. I think you would. If you had kids, you would dig it. But I mean, it is heavy-ish. I mean, it's like heavier than, I don't know, like Nickelback, but it's not like
not like screaming. Yeah, not the.
Yeah, I'm not gonna go stab somebody when I listen to it or anything.
I don't know. I might.
It sounds like
Paul has a tendency to want to stab people anyway.
Disney songs are doing that.
I could do that to.
They're called intrusive thoughts
too, so that's not really saying much.
Intrusive thoughts. So we have some exciting news.
They win every time. We do have some exciting news.
Yeah, I don't know if me and Paul have the same exciting news, but we could. Logan.
Oh yeah,
is officially
you will. Yeah, no.
A certified strength and conditioning specialist.
Certified.
Cue the applause music.
No, it's it was.
Effect. Don't we have sound effects on this thing?
Yeah, where's Tyler?
I just made one with my hands. Could you hear it?
Yeah. Yes.
Well, you told him he couldn't come on anymore, so.
That is not true. I didn't tell him. In fact, I said we need to have Tyler on, and Doug was like, I don't think Tyler will do very well on the podcast. I'm like, well, he'll be fine. He'll be fine.
What I said.
But anyway, yeah, it was good.
God.
It was not too bad. I worked really, really hard because I just don't have as much experience, and I've really only been in the industry for 3 years. And then, I mean, I had a basic 10-week certification that you can train an orangutan to pass. And it got me in the door. The biggest learning that I got was working with Doug and him teaching me, and then being able to program and actually do the things. So I had no experience in college or anything like that. I mean, I have an animal science background, and I pretty much cheated my way through a bachelor's degree. Let's be honest. I don't remember any of that stuff. So now I was like, okay, I actually have to like really study. So I've been studying since September and got and really, like, I say I've been studying since September. It was like a couple hours a week, maybe, up until just a few months ago. And then I was like, all right, we're doing this thing. If we're going to do it, we got to do it now. So we studied hard, and it was weird. There were questions on there that I was like, okay, this has to be a trick question. That is stupid easy. Like, that is stupid easy. And then there were some that I was like, wait a minute. Wait just a minute here. I have not seen anything like this in any practice exams at all, and I don't know what. So, but for the most part, like, it was pretty good. I felt pretty prepared and made it through. So now we're onwards and upwards to the next thing.
Heck yeah, man. Yeah, that's a that's a heck of a feat. Yeah, congrats. That really is. That's a big deal.
Thank you.
In our world, and man, like, you talk about the studying being hard, but and also you've been studying since January, not September. September hasn't happened yet. I've been going through all that.
Last
stuff.
September, last September. I started last September because I was at Las Cruces, and I told Mike AT, I was like, hey, I've got the textbook, like, I'm starting to read and study. And so I started really, like, actually studying. Yeah, it was this winter, but I'd spent a couple hours a week since last September. So it's been 10 months of getting after it. Definitely more so this year than last fall.
Well, I'm glad it's over, bro. Glad it's over.
Me
One
too.
take. That's the best. That is the damn best.
Definitely.
What are we talking about today?
It goes back to, like, well,
no, go ahead, Paul.
To just real quick on Logan's thing. It kind of goes back to, I think we were talking about on the homeschool, when we were talking about homeschool a couple weeks ago, about, like, how, like, real world experience elevates what you're studying.
Absolutely.
Like, I see it all the time. Like, you mentioned, like, just the standard personal training, certifications, they kind of leave you unfulfilled when you're finished with them. And I still see that now. Like, I'm a part of different, like, personal training groups on Facebook and stuff where there's new trainers coming in, and they'll ask some questions that just seem like they don't even know where to start. Like, they've gone through their certification. They have, like, no idea where to even start. And it's like, there's a problem there. But two, like, it goes to show that, like, nothing beats in person, or, nothing beats experience when in this industry, like, bar none. But then again, at the same time, you having experience and then going back and doing that CSCS probably made it so much easier than some kid that's fresh off their degree. They majored in kinesiology or whatever. Then they go into the CSCS. They have very little experience. Like, that would be super hard for them to, know, especially some of the things you were telling me on the phone yesterday. Like, you're having to break down a video of somebody doing an exercise and identify what's going on incorrectly. Like, we do that every single day. Like, a student, though, fresh out of college, like, they have very little experience doing that. So, like, that's really going to be difficult for them. Whereas for you kind of had that upper hand there because you've had several years of experience behind you.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And you can apply so much more.
The CSCS just gives you
at that point.
Yes, that's the thing that it's the application. Exactly, Doug. It's like, the CSCS says, okay, I have an above average level of understanding in how to train, or knowledge in how to train athletes. That's what, the CSCS says. Okay, cool. You were willing to work really hard and you have an above average amount of knowledge, but that doesn't equate to application. And that's where it really, that's what matters is can you apply those principles to your athletes, and how does that work? Because, we see it all the time in our culture where we chase certifications, or we read books, and we're constantly consuming, trying to elevate ourselves. But if we don't ever apply any of the principles, then, they're essentially useless. And so I'm excited I have been in my own and with clients trying to apply some of the principles. Again, we've talked about a few times on this podcast, all of the CSCS is based around volleyball, basketball, football, rugby, soccer, no rodeo. There's very little. Wolf and Sons is getting some rodeo studies going, but we're at the very, very baby beginnings as far as rodeo studies go. And so we're still having to try to take the knowledge, then view through our personal experience and what we see with clients, and try to use that lens to program. So, which is, it's cool to be in the beginning. We're definitely on the ground floor as far as strength and conditioning goes with rodeo athletes, which is awesome.
No doubt, dude. No doubt. But yeah, I think being able to apply what you actually learned is so cool. And I'm even just, when I'm studying now, I'm reading things and I'm like, oh, I can immediately put that into this part of, what I do with these clients or whatever it is. And, you're talking about that young kid who, has done the same amount of education, but has zero life experience. I don't give a shit what letters you have behind your name. That doesn't mean anything to me until I see what you can actually do and you can prove what you can do. Because we see it in everyday life, whether it's in physical therapy, work, athletic trainers, personal trainers, fucking doctors, whatever. You see them all the time. They have the letters, but they don't have the thing between the ears that shows they can use the letters correctly, right? So it's really cool for you see. And also I see all these new guys, man. You see lots of new coaches too. I would observe in the other gym I was in, which was an outstanding gym. Every one of those guys and girls was CSCS certified and beyond. But like, I'm going to say this, it's going to sound a little brash, but it's like being the smartest dumb motherfucker in the room. Like, you have all this knowledge and you have no way to use it. So like I was watching this guy working with a brand new client. She was probably in her 60s, overweight. She just wanted to do normal day things. And he's explaining why this movement is a sagittal plane movement and why sagittal plane movements are so important. And you could see in her face, she's like, what in the hell are you talking about? Like, sagittal what? Like, what do you mean? Like, yeah, but you know what he would have learned of 5 years of personal training is how to actually talk to a client and explain what sagittal means in common terms. So it's like, it's just something simple like that, where it's you can be too smart in a sense. I think that makes you awkward to be around or to deal with, or if that's all you have is facts and no real world experience, it makes it really hard because you can blurt out facts, but you can't tell anybody why. So we see that on a regular basis.
And the clients don't care, right? They want performance. Yeah.
They want whatever they're going to want. They want to,
and that
hear
goes across
they
every industry too. Like the, yeah, there's you already said that too. Like, there's plenty of doctors out there that have bad Google reviews, like lots, because they made it through school. Like, they obviously like have the knowledge, but they can't. They'd have no bedside manner, which is probably one of the most important things for doctors. Or they just can't apply the things. And like I don't want to pick on doctors strictly, because like I said, it's in every single industry. There's people that rely heavily on their education and cannot apply those things. But
yeah. It is. It's wild. But so back to the beginning. Congrats, Logan. We're really, really proud of you, bro. That's really, really cool. And
thank you.
You're not one of those people.
You're not one of those people. I just think it's cool that now it's one of those things that you get that now, no matter how much people want to discredit you, it's going to be very hard. Very hard. The only thing they could ever say is like, oh, he doesn't have a CSCS. Well, suck it. I got it.
Go get some.
Yeah, come and get some. What did we decide to talk about today, boys? I know we were kind of all over the board there. Are we talking about resistance training, or like how to build and maintain muscle? Or are we doing a different one? Okay.
We were talking about getting the most out of your workout in a short time.
Oh yeah. Okay. That's right.
Which is a great topic. Because
I love that.
I have to apply this today. I had some time slotted in this morning to work out, and I have felt like absolute dog poop all morning. So I'm trying to wait for the the old bubble guts feeling to subside, and then I'll have to break up my workout to be able to fit it in the rest of the day because I no longer have my time slot that I was planning on working out. So thankfully, I do have a garage gym, and I can easily break up all my compound lifts and stuff. So I'll have to figure out a way to get it in. And we're going to give you, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 different tips that we can use when the bubble guts happens to you and you no longer can work out in your perfect time. Or anything else comes up.
Or anything else, exactly.
Life,
we were, I was talking with Oren and Richie yesterday. We went to go fishing, and it was cool. I haven't been able to get out with the guys or like do anything like that in about feels like forever. But we were chatting about the in season and how there's groups of like 3 groups of athletes in rodeo right now. You have the group of guys who are doing absolutely nothing because they are, that's just them. The other group that is trying to do what they can with the time they have, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, maybe a little mobility here and there. And then you have the other group who is still going ham in their training with the thought process of, I'm working harder than anybody else right now. It's going to put me further ahead of everybody else right now. So it's interesting, right? It's very interesting. And it's something we run into on a excuse side, I would say, of like why I didn't work out is I don't have an hour. I didn't have the hour to work out today. My schedule got out of whack, whatever. And the thing that we have to realize is that's just life. Like your schedule is going to get out of whack on a weekly basis, maybe not daily, but on a weekly basis, it's going to get out of whack. And you have to find ways to still stay consistent in your movement, in your nutrition, your mindset, like all of the things that you need to work on. We've got to find ways to stay consistent in that. And that's something we've preached from day one is it doesn't take an hour. It takes 10 minutes or 20 minutes or 30 minutes of consistent, intentional effort in whatever you want to accomplish. Right. So I think that brings us to the first thing of like breaking up your workouts. If you don't have 30 to 60 minutes, what are some, I like to make blocks or make them AMRAPs or EMOMs. So they're set on time frames, but Paul, go ahead and like start us off with some things that you do with your clients.
Yeah, so like this is especially coming into the summertime. It really starts probably the beginning of June where you start getting people that they just don't have the time, or they don't perceive that they have the time to, work out at the same intensity or work out at the same time length that they were beforehand. The winter months we have, generally a lot less going on. You're staying inside a little bit more often. So like there seems to be more time during that wintertime spell that you can take that hour and a half to really get a good workout in. But sometimes in the summer, like blocking out that 1 hour time, like it just doesn't seem possible. And so it turns out, and there's even studies that back this up, like if you break your workouts up into shorter sections, then you will get a similar benefit as long as the volume is the same or the intensity is the same in those shorter, like say you do 2 30-minute workouts or 4 15-minute workouts. If you break that up throughout the day, there's actually studies, and I wish I would have linked them so that I could refer to them, but that show that you will have similar, if not even better gains during that time. So like for me, for example, I've got, like I said, today is going to be kind of one of those days where I'm fitting it in. Luckily, I do have a home gym. So if I've got 15 minutes of free time, I can, squeeze out 4 to 5 sets of squats or deadlifts. And it's not like I'm going to really probably work up that much of a sweat during that time. So I can still kind of go about my day. Maybe I got to run errands right after that or something. It's not really going to affect anything. And then, if I'm taking a lunch break later on, I can go for a walk and get some cardio in. So, or even, do some calisthenics or mobility. Like you can utilize this downtime throughout your day. And I know we've talked about on previous episodes, like tracking time. When you do track your time and write down like what you're doing throughout the day, you tend to find that you have several of these 15, 20-minute blocks of dead space, basically. And so you can fit in those 2, 3, 4 little mini workouts. And like I said, there's literally research that shows that you're not wasting your day, by doing that. You're actually getting the same benefit as if you put all of your focus and effort into one 60-minute time frame.
If not more from that. And I think another reason for that is the recovery side, man. You aren't tearing your body down so hard, right? You're not sitting there just trying to kill yourself for an hour and like, I got to make it all this time count. Like I may only get 2 of these in a week. Dude, you have to put the recovery check marks in too, on the other side of that. So you got to think, okay, I'm doing less sets, less volume. I'm not working out for 60 minutes. I'm doing it for 15. Your body's going to be able to recover a lot more from that. And you're still getting the benefits of the resistance training or strength training from that. And I think the number, Logan, you can probably chime in on this too. I was just reading about it, but it's like 18 to 30 reps to have some kind of stimulus change for muscle growth.
Yeah. And so they've seen that even one set can help in some situations. Even one set of 20 repetitions, it's probably not as optimal as maybe higher sets, but it has been shown to show significant muscle growth and maintaining the muscle that you already have in as little as one set of, say 20 repetitions.
And something I've seen personally is I've been doing that. I've been taking my volume down. I've been going from 3 sets to 2 sets. A lot of things I've been doing, like I'll do my combination training, right? So I'll have, or interval training, whatever you want to call it, where I'll do one exercise, rest for 30 seconds, one exercise, rest for 30 seconds. And I'll, I just lost my train of thought. I just had it at the tip of my tongue, and now I do not remember what I was going to say. I mean, just totally blanked out. Oh, man. Oh, 2 sets. 3 sets, but less volume. I have a better pump. I am way less sore, and I can see the aesthetic differences in my body literally day to day on the growth aspect. So my body, I feel like, is able to recover better. I'm not eating enough to be working out that hard. I'm eating enough to be working out as hard as I am right now with the 2 sets, right? So my body is able to recover better. I'm just seeing a lot better results, and I'm seeing that a lot with my athletes on the road as well now. It's been a little bit of adjustment period because, again, I have a lot of guys and girls that want to do the most. They are afraid of being outworked. And what we're trying to get through to them is hard work is important, but smart work is more important. And so if you can just listen to your coach or whoever you've hired to help you, and if they tell you that 2 sets is better than 3, just trust them and roll with it, and you'll start seeing the differences. And so that's what we're seeing now is guys they're like, dude, this only takes me 25 minutes to do. And I look at it on paper and I'm like, oh, that's nothing. Like, is that even worth doing? And every time after I get done, I'm like, damn, I'm glad I did that. So it's important.
Yeah, I think that rolls right into point number 2, which is increasing the intensity. A way in which you're able to slightly increase the intensity. Yeah, you might be doing less volume, but you're resting maybe 30 seconds. So there's a couple ways that we can increase intensity. One way is to shorten rest periods. And so an example might be if you have 20 minutes to get a workout in. One example, there's lots of ways you could go with it, but might be to do what we would call an EMOM, every minute on the minute. So you would just pick 4 exercises and a rep range in which you could complete in 30 seconds or so for each exercise. Minute 1, you do exercise 1. Minute 2, do exercise. Yeah, absolutely. Or just do 30 seconds, set a timer and do 30 seconds of work. And you would just move through those 4 exercises. And then minute 5, maybe take a rest, and you'd move through 4 sets. and that would be 20 minutes, and you're going to have a great pump. The other way that you can increase the intensity, and this is something that I've been doing here lately when I'm really on a time crunch at the gym, is that I'm just going to up the weight a little bit. I'm going to lower my reps. I'm always going to, if it's a lower body day, I'm always either going to squat or deadlift. And so I'll up the weight a little bit and lower my reps down into more of that strength range, maybe anywhere from 3 to 5 or 6 reps. And I'm going to put about 2 minutes rest, and I might go in, I'm going to warm up well for 5 to 10 minutes. And then I'm going to go in and I'm going to do 4 or 5 sets of a back squat, resting say 2 minutes in between sets. And then I'm going to cool down and I'm going to call it a day. And it took me 40 minutes, but I was able to actually, I left there. You rest 2 minutes. I know that that's tough to do for most people. It's tough to do for me as well. But you get done doing some pretty heavy, say 5 sets of 5 repetitions with 2 minutes rest in between. You feel like you just did some work, and it only took maybe 30 or 40 minutes depending on your warm up and your cool down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The
important thing to note is if 2 minutes rest feels too long, like there's probably not enough intensity in the set. Like you need to up your weight if you can. If you're not to a point where you can express enough weight that 2 minutes of rest feels too short, then maybe the shorter rest periods and the higher repetitions is a way to go. So option 1 there that Logan had kind of laid out. But if you've been training for at least 8 months to a year, there's a good chance you can express enough weight that 2 minutes rest is going to feel a little short. You're going to want a little more rest. You're like, oh man, time to get back to work. And yeah, I've been dealing with that lately. Is I had in my block a few weeks ago. It was like pushing so hard that I was like, by my 4th or 5th set, I was like, I literally had to rest for longer, like 5 minutes in between the last 2 sets, because I was like, I am gassed. Like I got nothing left. But yeah, those are great examples. I think something that I really like to do, and it kind of falls into that working on heavier weights at lower rep counts. It can, but what I did when I first learned how to really deadlift correctly. I deadlifted a little, almost not at all in high school. Tried to deadlift a little bit in college, but had no real coaching or experience with it. So it was kind of an iffy area. So when I wanted to learn how to deadlift, what I would do is I would dedicate pretty much an entire training session to learning how to deadlift. I wasn't using a lot of weight because I was brand new. So I'd maybe put 135 on. I would use a really slow eccentric portion of the lift, and I would literally just focus on doing one lift correctly. And that was my workout. And so if you are short on time and you have a weak area like that, a lot of people think that an effective workout has to have all these different exercises. But if you're practicing one of the fundamental, compound lifts, like a bench, deadlift, squat, one of those big ones, they're going to give you the most bang for your buck. And if it's a weak area that you're trying to improve upon, dude, it's a no-brainer. You need to set aside some time to do that. And so if you have a short day, then this is a perfect opportunity to do it. So when time's limited and you can make the most of practicing this one specific lift that you struggle with, it's going to translate over so well the next time that you do have a longer training session, because you've put in the time to practice it and you didn't waste that 15-20 minute day, or that day that you only had 15 or 20 minutes, and say, well, I don't have enough time to work out. You did have enough time to practice your weak spots.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I think I encourage some people, try that. Try 2 exercises a session, 3 exercises a session, and see what happens after 8 weeks. You're going to be surprised at how little time it takes. And I think you're going to be really, really surprised at the results that you get from doing that. And so I think a good way to just set that up real quick is if I want to, I would just break it up into sections, leg day, but more I'm going to work on my quads today. I'm going to do 2 exercises. What am I going to do? I'm going to do, a banded single leg, quad extension or leg extension. If I have a machine, I'm going to do it through there, and maybe some kind of squatting variation, maybe heels elevated, front squat or goblet squat. And we're going to do that for 20 minutes for 3 sets and get those quads really really paid attention to. And again, you can go your shoulders, upper body, vertical press, vertical pull, lat pull down and press overhead. Cool. That's one day, and same thing, horizontal press, horizontal pull the next day. Cool. Hamstrings the next day, glutes the next day, whatever you want to do. But it doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be an hour like we've always said. Picking 2 or 3 exercises and setting the clock for 20 minutes and just making sure you get the rest time in between each set and getting quality reps in each time is going to be so much more beneficial than sitting there saying, I wish I coulda, woulda, right? So I think that's a great tip of adding that in. What about HIIT workouts, guys? We hear about HIIT all the time. I think that it's a great thing when implemented correctly. There are some major keys, though, to HIIT training that I think we want to go over to make sure people are successful with it. Logan, I'll let you go ahead and just kick her off with your thoughts on that.
Yeah, HIIT workouts are an awesome way to be able to get it in. Sometimes what we see is that's all people want to do are HIIT workouts, and what it can turn into, if you're not careful, is it can just turn into cardio with weights. You're just burning calories. You're not really building lean tissue, and which is a great thing if you've never worked out before. It's definitely a place to start. But these can be super helpful especially like in the summertime when time is of the essence, or maybe you have a really busy week throughout the year. And be a great time to incorporate some high intensity interval training, some HIIT workouts. You definitely are going to get the heart rate up. You're definitely going to get, if you're somebody that likes to feel like you did something, and you go in and you focus on one exercise, but you're taking the appropriate rest in between, and you're like, I know that it was effective, but I don't feel like I did anything. Then maybe a HIIT workout is for you. If you need to be drowning in sweat when you leave the gym, a HIIT workout will definitely do that. And so, with HIIT workouts, your rest is going to be really short. Typically we're gonna incorporate these 2 to 3 days a week. We're gonna use some weights, and you're gonna perform some sort of circuit similar to maybe what I mentioned earlier, an EMOM. You could also do some form of what we would call like an AMRAP, as many rounds as possible, and you'd set a short timer and go through those handful of exercises, trying to accumulate repetitions of each one. And so there's a couple different modes, and honestly, if you have ever done like P90X or any of those, you have done a version of a HIIT workout. That's typically what those follow, and they are able to get you results in 25 minutes, T25. But there's a reason all of those programs last 8 weeks. Because if you're consistent, yes, you will see results. Not much more past 8 weeks. That's about where they're not year-long programs, HIIT programs, where they promise you'll see results for a year, because it just doesn't. It at some point in time, we've got to start adding lean tissue. And so, however, this is a great thing. And I just had this conversation this morning with a client has struggled over the last few years in being consistent, and will go through months of being really, really consistent, and then will fall off the wagon for months, and then come back, and I've seen their body change, and they start getting results, and then they self-sabotage, and then they start getting results, and then they self-sabotage. And they've been doing excellent up until about a week ago, and maybe a week and a half ago, and they haven't done one in about a week and a half. And so I could see the signs coming, and I was able to say, hey, is the summer getting the best of you? And they gave me a list of excuses. They said, well, my sleep hasn't been great. I helped with a ranch rodeo over the 4th of July. I've just had a lot of things, going my way. And so I replied back, and I was a little harsh. I know this guy well enough to be able to speak truth into his life. And I just said, man, it sounds like life. Wait till you have kids. Man, I've been packing up. I've been setting up arenas till 4 a.m. Like it's part of it. If you would have said, hey, I'm going to be really busy next week, can you just put in can we kind of adjust our schedule? I would have totally put in 10 or 15 minutes worth of some mobility that you could do, but you could have stayed consistent, because like Doug said at the very beginning, the most important part of all of this is consistency. Whatever you can be consistent with. And sometimes you've just got to suck it up and knock out 10 minutes, even if it's 10 minutes at a time, but you've just got to get after it. Otherwise we fall back off the wagon, and it's 3 months go by, and you're like, man, how did I get here? Well, you got here by missing one day because you didn't have time.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely. So also with those HIIT workouts too, y'all, make sure the reason that we're not doing them for 2 months is the results stop because overtraining steps in. You're overreaching for 8 weeks intensely, and you're not allowing your body to recover. And so when you continue on and on and on, that's why you see the breakdown. That's why you see people not doing well past 8 weeks with those kinds of, insanity, P90X, T25, whatever it is, exercises, because past 8 weeks, we are going way too hard. Also, this is not like a 20-minute thing. This is more like a 4-minute tops thing, a 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off kind of thing for HIIT training. So just make sure if you're using those, set them up accordingly. No more than 2 times a week, no more than 8 weeks in a row. And if you're trying to lose weight or just have a change up in your workout, I think it's a great way to do it. And especially when you're on a time crunch, is a good way to get a quick pop in and get everything elevated and rolling, right? Just to kind of wrap this up, all the strategies we just talked about, breaking up your workouts, make them shorter, increase the intensity a little bit. You can either increase the weight, increase the tempo. You can decrease rest times, which is another thing we talked about, making your rest time shorter in between movements. Focusing on 1 or 2 exercises maybe that you struggle with, or areas of your body that you're struggling with, and just doing those for 10 or 20 minutes and consistently hitting that every day. And the last thing we talked about was, don't exclusively do HIIT workouts, but they're a great addition for a change up, someone wanting to maybe burn a little bit of body fat, and keep it in a timely manner, right? Guys, we got to thank our sponsors, Beastmaster Rodeo. They are the top rodeo gear company out there. Whether you are the elite of professionals or someone just getting into the sport, they have the equipment that you need for all rodeo events. You can check them out, beastmasterrodeo.com. Use our discount code CHAMPIONLIVING, all one word, and it's going to be uppercase, going to save you 10% on all their products. Guys, customer service is bar none. They will have your stuff out to you within that day if they can, if not that morning, the next day. Guys, until next time, we'll catch you later.